Hi everyone. As I told you that I'll bring you the story of Lopamudra. So here I am with Lopamudra. Now Lopamudra is not a character which is directly in the Mahabharata. She's very much present in the Vedas, and in the Mahabharata she is a story which is related to Yudhishthir. Lopamudra is Agastya's wife. So let me not waste much time and let me get straight to the story. As usual, I always start with a palace, and here is a palace which is a very, very, very beautiful palace. And it's the palace of Vidarbha. And the king and the queen of Vidarbha, they have a beautiful daughter called Lopamudra. Okay, Lopamudra is beautiful, and at the same time, Lopamudra is very educated. She knows her scriptures. She is someone who is beauty with brains, and she's just what a princess should be. And that princess Lopamudra has now come of a marriageable age. The king and the queen are, at present, in the story's present, the king and the queen were looking for a groom for Lopamudra. At that very point, walks in one day into the palace Rishi Agastya, the sage Agastya, a very, very powerful sage. And he walks in. The moment he walks in, obviously, sages could bless, or if they would get angry, they could curse. So the king and the queen were immediately right on their toes and says, "What can we do for you?" And King Agastya says, "Simple, give me your daughter." And the king and the queen says, our daughter is very young. And Rishi says that, "I want to marry her." And of course the king and the queen were not very eager to give their daughter off to Rishi Agastya. Here was this beautiful princess, and here was this man who was a rishi, yes, but at the same time was unkempt, did not really have a palace, was staying in the forests. And they were very hesitant. They could not really directly say no. Agastya says, "Well, I am the only one who can be her husband and nobody else." And at that point of time, Lopamudra also walks in, and Agastya says that, she was conceptualized by me. You both were praying for a child, but I was praying for a wife who's going to be born in a king and a queen's household. So what I had done is, I had imagined the most beautiful animals and visualized her in my mind's eye. After visualizing her in my mind's eye, she was conceived by you. But she has been conceived only because I wanted this woman to be my wife. Her conception is also controlled by me. Just imagine. The king and the queen, of course, were shocked. But Lopamudra listens to it quietly, and Lopamudra tells her parents that, "You know what? I want to be married to this man itself. He's my husband." The king and the queen agrees. Lopamudra wears her bridal finery, her jewelry and everything, and gets married to Agastya. And she is ready to leave the palace with Agastya. But Agastya suddenly says that, "Look at us. Here I am, a rishi, wearing barks of trees, wearing deer skin, and you are wearing all these beautiful jewelry and, lovely clothes. It's not befitting a rishi's wife. So you need to give it away." Lopamudra agrees immediately. She gives up all her material finery, and she wears barks of trees, a deer skin, and says, "I'm ready to go with you." So this woman, even her birth was controlled by somebody in the mind. She could not even choose her husband. And then she gives up everything. And she was all there to go with him to the forest. She goes to the forest. And well, it was hardly a marriage because the rishi was deep in his tapasya. A tapasya is a very deep meditation. And Lopamudra accordingly was also doing her meditation. At the same time, she was also seeing that the rishi was happy in terms of whatever his needs were. After a while, the rishi says, Lopamudra, time has come for you to produce a son. And we need to now consummate this marriage. We now need to give this marriage what a marriage is. And Lopamudra says, I have not said anything till now. But now, I need to tell you something. This is not, I know I have to produce a son. I know that is what you have visualized and I will do accordingly. But when I am going to go to my marital bed, it has to be what a princess's marital bed was. The kind of bed that I slept in when I was at my parents'. I want that kind of bed now. Agastya says, but that's not possible. I don't have that kind of money. Lopamudra says, sorry, but this is what I want. I can't be, wearing barks of trees and deer skin and, spend the first night of my marriage with you. I can't do that. So either I get all those fineries. I want the best clothes right now when I'm going to go. And I want the best clothes. I want the best bed. And then only this marriage will be what a marriage should be like. This man who till date, this man had been a complete control freak. Visualizing, conceptualizing a woman, then she's implanted in another woman's womb, and then when the time comes, he says, give her to me. Complete control freak. But for the first time, he says, I will really try. And she says, yeah, either you try or I can't help it. Agastya makes a journey. He goes to 3 kings and asks for money and property basically. And then finally he meets someone called Ilval. That's a separate story. Ilval and Batapi. That's another story. Where, he kills Batapi with some design. We'll divert if I tell you the story of Ilval and Batapi. Whatever happens, he gets the required amount of wealth from Ilval. And he goes back to Lopamudra. And he says, I've done exactly what you wanted. And Lopamudra says, great. Now this marriage is going to be what a marriage should be. And then, again, how the texture of this relationship changed when Agastya says that I know that you're going to produce a son. But this time, you make a choice. Do you want 10 sons or do you want 1 son? Lopamudra thinks for a while and Lopamudra says, I don't want 10 sons because, 10 sons, among them many can be stupid. I'd rather have 1 son, and that 1 son has to be very knowledgeable and very, very wise. Agastya says, so be it. And then, with time, Lopamudra gives birth to a son, Drisadasyu or Idmavaha. Now, this particular son was very wise, very knowledgeable, and was a great poet. And yes, Lopamudra and Agastya lived a very, very, very fulfilling, happy life. Yeah, these are the stories of Mahabharata which are not really very known, but they talk about changing relationships, evolving over a period of time, and I thought, why not share this with all of you?